You keep hitting snooze on your own life, not the alarm clock. Your life. You wake up already behind. You move through your day like you're chasing a bus that already left. And somewhere underneath all of it, a quiet thought keeps surfacing. What if I'm not supposed to be moving this fast? You push the thought away. There's too much to do. The inbox doesn't slow down. The bills don't slow down. The people counting on you don't slow down. So why would you? But what if that exhaustion isn't a scheduling problem? What if it's a message? Scripture already answered this question long before calendars had color-coded reminders. In Mark chapter 6, verse 31, Jesus looks at his own disciples, men who were healing the sick and feeding crowds and doing urgent, important work. And he says this, "Come away by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. Not later, not after the harvest is in, now." While the need was still there, while people were still asking for more. That's the part we skip past. We assume rest is something you earn after the work is finished, but the work is never finished. There will always be one more task, one more person who needs you, one more fire to put out. If you wait for an empty inbox to rest, you will wait forever. So let's name what's actually happening. This isn't laziness. It isn't a lack of discipline. It's a spiritual pattern, and it has a name. Burnout is what happens when a person tries to carry a weight God never designed them to carry alone, for as long as they're carrying it. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Busyness feels like proof of your worth. If you're needed, you matter. If you're exhausted, you must be doing something right. Somewhere along the way, tired became a badge of honor. But God never measured your value by your output. Look at Genesis chapter 2, verse 2. On the seventh day, God rested from all his work. Think about that for a second. God rested, not because he was tired, not because the universe wasn't finished being good. He rested to set a pattern, a rhythm, a rest that was built into creation from the very beginning, before sin, before struggle, before anyone had anything to prove. If the God who spoke galaxies into existence built rest into the fabric of time itself, what does it say about you when you refuse to? Here's the counterintuitive twist. The world tells you slowing down is falling behind. Scripture tells you slowing down is how you catch up to what actually matters. Psalm 46 verse 10 says it plainly. Be still and know that I am God. Not be productive and know that I am God. Not be impressive, be efficient, be everywhere at once and know that I am God. Be still. Stillness feels like the opposite of faith to a lot of people. It feels passive, unsure, like you're doing nothing while the world moves without you. But stillness in Scripture is never emptiness. It's positioning. It's the posture you take when you finally believe God is handling what you can't. Think about Elijah in 1 Kings chapter 19. He had just won an enormous spiritual battle. He had just seen fire fall from heaven, and immediately after he collapses under a tree and asks God to let him die. Not because he was weak in faith, because he was depleted. And how does God respond? Not with a lecture about pushing through. God sends an angel with food, tells him to sleep, feeds him again, and lets him rest before speaking a single word of instruction. Rest came before revelation, not after. That's worth sitting with. If even Elijah, a man who called down fire from heaven, needed to be fed and rested before he could hear God clearly, what makes you think you're the exception? Maybe the reason you feel spiritually foggy isn't a lack of faith. Maybe it's that you've been trying to hear God's voice over the noise of your own exhaustion. And exhaustion is loud. It drowns out everything. Think about how differently we treat urgency now compared to how Scripture treats it. In your world, urgent means immediate. A message left unanswered for an hour feels like a small failure. A calendar with empty space feels like wasted time instead of available time. You've been trained to treat every open moment as a problem to be filled. But look again at how Jesus operated. In Luke chapter 5, verse 16, we're told that he often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. Often. Not once, as a special occasion. Not only in a crisis. This was a rhythm, a regular pulling away, even while people were actively seeking him out. Even while there were sick to heal and questions to answer. He didn't treat withdrawal as neglect. He treated it as necessary maintenance for the work itself. That should reframe how you see your own need to step back. It isn't neglecting your responsibilities. It's how the responsibilities stay sustainable in the first place. A well that's never allowed to refill eventually runs dry, no matter how many people are standing in line with buckets. So here's the modern mirror. What does this actually look like for you today in a life full of notifications and deadlines and people who need answers right now? It might look like closing your laptop before the task list says you're allowed to. It might look like sitting in silence for 5 minutes without reaching for your phone, just to remember what your own thoughts sound like without input. It might look like saying no to something good so you have room for something necessary. It's not about doing less because you don't care. It's about doing less so the things you do carry weight instead of just carrying you further into the ground. Because here's what nobody tells you about constant motion. It doesn't just wear out your body, it wears out your discernment. When you're always moving, you stop being able to tell the difference between what God is actually asking of you and what your own anxiety is demanding of you. Slowing down isn't giving up on your responsibilities. It's how you finally see them clearly. Consider what happens to water when it's constantly disturbed. You can't see your own reflection in it. You can't see what's underneath the surface. It's only when the water settles that clarity comes back. Your mind works the same way. All that noise, all that motion isn't just tiring you out. It's keeping you from seeing what's actually true about your life, your priorities, and what God might actually be asking of you in this season. And maybe that's the real fear underneath the busyness. Maybe some part of you suspects that if you slowed down long enough, you'd have to face something you've been outrunning, a relationship you've been avoiding, a decision you've been putting off, a grief you haven't let yourself feel. Motion can be a very effective way of not feeling anything at all. But God isn't asking you to slow down so He can lecture you. He's asking you to slow down so He can meet you. There's a difference between running from something and resting in someone. One leaves you more depleted every time, the other actually restores you. So the next time you feel that pull to slow down and you immediately talk yourself out of it because there's too much on the line, consider this. That pull might not be weakness. It might not be an excuse to avoid what's hard. It might be the same voice that told tired disciples to come away and rest while the crowds were still calling their names. You don't have to earn stillness. You don't have to finish everything first. You were never asked to run a race. You were never meant to sprint. So you keep hitting snooze on your own life. Maybe that's not the problem after all. Maybe it's the first sign you're finally starting to listen.